show. Oh, sorry, set the camera there. Lighting's kind of weird. I don't know what's going on here with this lighting. Ooh. Oh, it's this giant light above me. Hey, how's everyone doing? Sorry I'm a few minutes late. Usually I'm trying to be on for 7, but I actually had an appointment that ran super late because I like to talk and they got talking, and yeah, long story short, I've been super busy this week and I almost forgot about the show, but I've never missed a show, so here we are, we're live. Today I want to take the chance to answer any of you guys' questions, whatever you guys want to talk about this week. I'm happy to be that sounding board. As you can see, I still cannot shave this dirty thing off because I still cannot recover from the huge loss that I had in mid-July. It's been now 2 months, and I was down 1.6 million at the lowest of it, and I've recovered well over $1 million of it at least. I'm getting quite close to being able to shave again, but it's gross and it's tough. So anyway, talking today about not necessarily the stock portfolio, unless you guys want to talk about my stock portfolio. It's a sore point right now until I recover all of those losses. I was doing so well, and each month I've traded. I've done very well each and every month I've traded, except for that one day that blew up my entire account. Other than that, it's been on a straight, sort of upward trend, getting great returns. Just one really bad trade that I didn't cut the loss. Like, that was the mistake, because I should have cut the loss right away. 100,000 loss, I should have been like, okay, stop loss out, done. Instead of, just hanging in there and seeing if it would recover. That was the mistake. But today, for anyone watching who's interested in buying properties in London here that are decent income properties, I've got several properties that I want to get rid of for a number of reasons. Not because they're bad, but mostly because I'm in a situation right now where the bank won't lend me unless I get under, like, as a high net worth individual without a good stable job. For some reason, if you're wealthy but you don't have a T4 job, bank's like, okay, I'm not so interested unless you have 5 properties or less. So as a high net worth individual, I can qualify for private residence mortgage, no problem, as long as I have 5 rental properties or less in my personal name. My mistake was buying too much in my personal name, not enough in the corp's. And I'm just looking to get lighter on my real estate portfolio. I've spent 6 hours on the phone with Enercare in the last, 3 days, trying to deal with a hot water tank issue that, like, I couldn't outsource. There's no way a VA could do it, anything like that. It's one of those things where I had to deal with it. They sent a tech to Toronto, then they sent to a wrong address. They came, they had the wrong tank. These tanks have been without hot water. It's been a nightmare, getting the messages from this triplex. And I even have a property manager there. That's with property management in place, right? Just those kinds of situations keep cropping up. Like, a tenant will leave and there's an issue, or it requires the landlord to lean in. I don't want to lean in. I hate landlording. Like, there's no amount of money you can now pay me to be a landlord. I'm sick of it. So I'm at a point where I want to sell some more properties off. I've got 10 properties on the chopping block, another 10 are going. So yeah, if you want some deals, hit me up. There are opportunities for vendor takebacks where I can put a second mortgage, and basically if you bought a 20% down, I would be willing to lend the entire down payment as a second mortgage at 0% interest. If you keep me on as a partner, an equity partner, I'd be happy to lean in lightly and give you my connections. You can run the property. It can be your headaches, not mine, and I'll stay on as an equity partner, collecting a more passive return. Or if you just want to buy my properties off too, that's cool. Slowly I'll be getting them all for sale. We sold another 2 off this past week. It's been great working towards getting all these properties sold. They're all in London, Ontario. Actually, I have one that's in Sarnia that'll be coming up, but yeah, all in London right now. We do have one in Brockville. We have a 4-plex near Brockville that we're probably gonna be keeping, actually, because the partner's doing all the active management. I'm just a money partner. But it's just, I don't know, it just doesn't make enough money. Even if I were to find really good property management that could take over everything, which is very hard to do. But even if you could find someone that was that good, there's just not enough money in it for me, given the value of my time. I haven't been able to find a situation where that works. If someone has a really great, property management solution where I don't have to do a thing, I lift a finger, that'd be great. Unfortunately, most of the tenants already have my number, and they go around the property management and they call me and they annoy me. Don't want that. So that's where I'm at right now. is just wanting to be free of that burden. I'm enjoying the new place. We are, making a lot of plans and things we want to do. If anyone knows any really great pool contractors, I want to put a really nice pool in. So hit me up if you have any good contractors or contacts for that. Yeah, it's just, I'm just at a point in my life where the cash flow I make from exactly, Jonas just put a comment there below, 100%. That's where my eyes are focused. That's more where I want to spend my time. And I think you meant it literally, but I took it more figuratively. That's where my eyes are focused. It's one of those things where I think finding that balance of what you want to be doing with your life and focusing on that. Like, as an example, when I'm stock trading, I don't find that, there's stress in it for sure. Like, the down days are stressful. But when I don't know, like, I get a problem in the stock world, there's no people involved. There's no, like, I'm in control and I can cut it off at any point. I like that. Whereas in the rental world, it's just a different business, a different beast entirely. And so I'm just less interested in that whole piece anymore. And it feels like an hour of real estate work feels like 10 hours of stock trading. And I'm just ready for a new stage. I like flipping still. I will continue to flip. I have friends that want to do more of the active stuff, and I'm happy to, thanks, appreciate that. And my daughter actually made this shirt for me. It's tie-dye, pretty sweet. It's a little bit small, but yeah, I like it. I'll answer some of these questions here in a sec. Here, I'll scroll up. But yeah, what's up, Andrew? I can tell by your beard that I'm not back to break even. Yeah, unfortunately, it's still here and itchy. Unfortunately, I can't really grow much of a beard anyway, but it's still itchy, just the same as if it was a nice big beard. At age 20, do you recommend leveraged dividends, run the wheel strategy, or do you recommend real estate investing? So it depends on the amount of capital that you have, right? If you're just getting started at 20 years old with not very much capital, it's good practice to run the wheel with a small account, just so you can learn how to behave when you have a larger portfolio. From a passive return on time perspective, stock option trading, running the wheel, using cheap leverage, from a time perspective is much, much better. You can grow with a lot less time. But if you have time and you're 20 years old, you can invest that time in real estate and get 5, 6, 7 times the return than what you could get in, oh, whoa, the other light turned off and it's backlit, now I'm dark. Well, we're gonna live in the shadows. I got one light, but the rest is in shadows. Forget my point that I was making, but just time. Like, if you're 20 years old and you're talking about, return on time, you can double your money every year in real estate, no problem. I've doubled my money every single year for 10 years. So for the last decade, I have been doubling every single year using real estate. And I use leverage in real estate, so you can get a 30, 40% return on the project. If you're levered 3 to 1, that's 100% return in the project. It's very hard to lose money in real estate, though I have lost money on 2 projects in real estate, both recently. I overextended myself in 2019 and took on too many projects, which resulted in delays and spreading myself too thin. If you really micro the projects effectively and you bring on a good quality team and you manage the costs, you got to be negotiating with your contractors all the time. You can't let them have an inch or they'll take a mile, and you're really tight on the deals you're buying, and you're keeping it rented and very little vacancy. Then you can make a lot of money in real estate by running a tight ship product and providing that to customers that are tenants that are happy, or if you're flipping, providing that to new buyers that are happy. You can make a lot of money fast. You can grow your wealth. I think real estate is a way better way to build wealth. If you've gotten to a certain point where you've got $1 million, $2 million, $10 million, whatever you've gotten, in even 500,000 probably, you can pivot, and 500,000 can make you $5,000 a month options trading relatively safely with very little risk. And 500 grand in the wrong properties could make you a grand or two a month, depending how well it's levered, depending how much mortgage debt and how much equity you have in that property. Your return on equity on 500 grand of capital could be less than $5,000 a month from a real estate perspective. So it just depends on how you want to allocate your capital. But I think, diversification is important. So being all in real estate, once you build a certain level of net worth, you have to start diversifying. It becomes about capital preservation more than it's about, just full growth. Because losing what you have when you've worked really hard and made a lot is extremely painful. So it just depends where you're at in your journey. But if you're 20 years old, I think real estate's fantastic. You should buy a property and house hack. The reason I say buy a property for your primary is your primary residence is tax-free currently in Canada, and if Trudeau is reelected again, that's on the chopping block, so your primary residence won't be tax-free. They're talking about that. They're talking about increasing capital gains tax in real estate. I wouldn't want to be a real estate investor in the world that the NDP or the Liberals have planned for real estate investors. And let's not forget that if you have more than 4 rental properties, you're in the top 1% of real estate investors. You're the target market. You're who they're going after. If you have less than 4 rental properties, you're part of the 99%. So you're probably not on the chopping block near as much. I'm in the top 0.01%. I'm who they're looking for, right? People like me. I mean, there's many people doing way more than I am, but they're designing the tax code to tax the hell out of me, which will eventually drive me out of Canada. That's just what it is, right? Like anyone who's a top 0.1%er in Canada should be looking at options to leave Canada, right? We're just not welcome here. The tax system is designed so we pay more than half of what we make. And I could go to Costa Rica and all foreign income is taxed at zero. And I can come back to Canada 5.5 months a year, be here all summer, enjoying times with family and friends, being here 5.5 months a year, but 6.5 months a year be gone, right? Still enjoy Canada without being a subject to its tax, So definitely if you're gonna vote, vote conservative. I'm gonna just go out here and say this. I try not to get too political on the channel, but whatever. It is now a matter of I will leave the country if we don't see PPC or Conservative get elected, if not now in the next 4 years. The longer that the Liberals and the Socialists have power and control, and again, it's all about power and control, and then taking, right, and distributing how they see fit. That's really what I don't like. I think that, if given freedom, people will choose, to support each other. Like, we're going to support our family. There will be social safety nets. And I think some social safety nets are good in general. I grew up with nothing in poverty, so I know what it's like to have the food stamp stuff. I understand where welfare is super important, the Ontario Public Works System. I grew up on that, right? Like I used a lot of those programs to leapfrog myself to success. But at the same time, you can't tax entrepreneurs to the point where they want to leave the country, where they can't produce anything because it's not advantageous to do it. When you incentivize half your population to sit at home over a cold, I'm sorry, it's everyone can get the vax if they want. I recommend everyone to get it, especially if you're over 40. It makes sense. But yeah, I mean, for some groups that are not at risk, it doesn't make sense. And if it actually was super effective, we have like 85% vaccination rate. When it gets to 90% and everyone's vaccinated, what are we worried about? Because it doesn't actually work that well. It's like 40% effective. Keep wearing your masks, people, because just because you got a job doesn't necessarily mean that you're protected. And if you get a job, there is a risk you could have, complications. I know someone who's died from the second dose of the vax 6 days later. So again, I don't know. I hear stories about side effects. No one's really looking into it a ton, but I've had adverse reactions to vaccinations before myself. I'm a sensitive guy. My brother had the same issue growing up, and that's just normal vaccines you take when you're going traveling and stuff. So there are going to be a percentage of the population that should be exempt. So I stand strongly opposed to limiting people's freedoms based on personal medical choices and releasing medical information to private businesses. Just from a precedent standpoint, I stand strongly opposed to that. I stand strongly opposed to a passport, a mandatory passport. Coming September 22nd, I can't go to the movie theaters. I can't go out and eat. I can't go out for dinner. I can't go to play with my kids at any public places. I can't do anything unless I have a vaccine. And if I am vaccinated, which again, probably will get vaccinated to be honest, but it's not about that. It's about the principle. Even once I have the right to do that, there are people out there who can't do that for whatever medical reasons. They can't get it, or they're afraid that they're high at risk or something and they don't want to get it, or for whatever reason they just don't want to get it. And that's fine, that's their choice. You could expose yourself to COVID and get natural antibodies if you like. That's your choice. You should be allowed to do that. And if you can quarantine at home and take a 10x of zinc, get a vitamin D drip, vitamin C going, elderberry syrup, you know, get all of the natural stuff going. Some people are experimenting with some steroids and some ivermectin and things like that. I don't know about that. Some people had really great success. There's some testimonials and doctors who have treated 10,000 patients. So I don't know. No official research has gone into that because it's not patentable and there's no profit in it. But people are successfully surviving COVID. I know personally dozens of people who have had it, survived, and are fine, and say it was no big deal. People describe it a lot, like Joe Rogan described it. So there are a lot of people who are having no complications at all. The majority of people have no complications at all. You have a greater chance, statistically speaking, of choking on your food or dying in a car accident when you get in your car than dying of COVID. So the real risk is like, do we let people drive? Do we let people eat? They could choke and die. Like, do we let people smoke? Because secondhand smoke causes cancer and kills people, right? At a similar rate to this terrible sickness, right? Someone put a good comment there, hard to fight big pharma. It's true. I mean, it's hard to fight a lot of money. And let's not forget that, you know, if I was a politician and I was thinking, what's going to be good for me? Everyone else being vaccinated is good for me. It reduces transmission rate, that's a fact, and it reduces severity, so it's not as hard on our public health system. It is net good to force it out on everyone. From a public health standpoint, there's a certain number of, I can see the arguments on the side for wanting everyone to get it, and I want everyone who wants to get it to get it. They should incentivize people to get it who want to get it, cool. You shouldn't force people to get it. That's where there's a problem. If it is really effective, people will get it. They will willingly want to get it. And if it is actually effective, then if you've gotten it, you're fine. I don't know. I don't want to get down this rabbit hole because there's 85% of Canadians seem to be in favor of, well, I don't know if it's 85%, but a large percentage of people seem to be in favor of a passport. So I don't know if those numbers are inflated or fake. I mean, with these mail-in ballots, I'll be surprised if the election probably is a majority for Trudeau, even if it isn't even true, even if majority don't support him. I could see things really swaying with some fake mail-in ballots. I wouldn't put it past. There's so many instances of corruption and deceit in, historically speaking, in pretty much every government everywhere. That's just human nature, that there's very little trust, I think, at this stage. And, you know, having been on the inside on audit, working at KPMG and auditing some companies, I can tell you that there's a lot of corruption everywhere, and it's rampant in the government as well. And so, I don't know. Let's just, I don't know. I am a believer in voting Conservative now more than ever. I can see how, if you make less than 50 grand a year, and you plan to continue to always make less than 50 grand a year, I can see why people vote Liberal and NDP, because the majority don't have, they're have-nots. And you vote for what's best for you and your family, and I get that. That's how people mostly vote. If you draw a line between socioeconomic status, the poorer you are, the more likely you are to be socialist. The richer you are, the more likely you are to be, you know, or conservative or right-wing. It's just, you can literally draw a line between how you grew up, what you have, and how you vote. People are selfish, that's the truth. And people are lazy too, so they want what's easy. And, you know, NDP want to just give money out. They want to print, really they're robbing future generations by printing money, but yeah. What do? There is no exemption. You have no rights and freedoms. It's like Germany in 1932 right now. We're 10 years away from potentially like throwing people in ovens at this point. It's what it feels like. Refining all your properties. Good for you, Kevin. It's a lot of work to refi properties. I did it last year. I don't want to do it again. Like, I could do it again. My properties have tons of equity in them again, but it's just so much work to refinance everything. Raveen, how long does it take to fill your properties? My unit is almost 3 months vacant. My property manager's only gotten 3 applications, none of which were great. I feel like selling the property. Raveen, you're not alone. I talk to dozens of people through Instagram who have property managers who have units listed for months at a time. Good property managers in town that have hundreds of units. That's why your property isn't prioritized, because they have hundreds of units listed for sale. I find all of the big property management companies suck. They overbill, they don't watch your property like it's their own, they don't care. They have people working at $15 an hour and they're sitting there, you know, they clock out at 5 o'clock, whatever, they don't care. They have systems in place, but the people that are doing the job are incompetent and don't care. That's the real issue with most property management, unfortunately. So just expect like a 20% vacancy with property management in place. Unless you drop your rents to slightly below market rent, then it should rent quickly. So potentially, either they're not advertising it well, bad pictures, bad marketing, maybe not responding quickly to people who are applying. Because if you post on Facebook Marketplace and they're marketing in the right places, you should be getting like 50 to 60 inquiries in a 24-hour period. It's a lot of work to go through all of those and then weed them out. And I only show people who pass my 10 commandments. So I'm only doing a very limited number of showings after they've seen a video walkthrough of the place. I always do a phone video walkthrough, load it up to YouTube at a private link, send that out. That's what property managers should be doing. They get a personal showing only if they're a pre-qualified applicant. That's why waste your time as a showing agent. That's my thoughts on it. But yeah, I mean, you probably just have to drop your price or do better marketing. Something's up that it hasn't rented out in 3 months. It could just be that the property manager is terrible and not doing good marketing or good advertising. Something is up. It could be the product itself too, or a combination of everything, right? In which case, if you have a crap product and not a very good property manager, probably just drop their rents till it's below market rent. And then people will start, looking and applying. So yeah, sorry to hear that, by the way. I also have had tons of those types of vacancies. I have units that have been vacant for 9 months now. For a number, just because I have one that's over a year now because we're under construction. And I've had issues with city permits and taking forever. We took 4 months just to get the engineer drawings accepted. They kept coming back. And every time they come back with a revision that they want to see, it's like 50 business days before they've approved that. So you go forever just sitting. That's construction if you're doing things properly. Things take forever. And then a number of other issues why have had properties sit vacant too. I've had bad property management that, one guy said he was posting it, and then I check online and he didn't even post it for like 2 months. Said he was posting the ads and trying and doing showings, and lo and behold, check the cameras, no showings, like just lying, right? A lot of that goes on too, right? Where people just shirk their duties. And so it comes down to good leasing managers, good property managers, and a good product. Good leasing managers do good marketing work, so that'll help too. But I find definitely it makes sense to sell more and more. If you're not gonna run a tight ship and have good teams and systems in place, and if, I don't even want that. Even if I found good systems, I don't think that I really wanna continue to hold. I don't wanna be in the game anymore. I can get a better, maybe not a better return. The buy and hold part, there's no value lift, right? You're getting basic appreciation. You're not adding any value to the property. So the real lift just comes from cash flow. And the cash on cash return, when you've take a nap for 30 minutes, I push myself when I shouldn't, but when I get sick, I sleep. That's important. You gotta sleep. That's the most important thing you can do to beat anything, any virus. And Jessica, to be honest, I'm not anti-vax. You put the comment there. I'm pro-vax. I think everyone should get the vaccine. It is effective in reducing. There is a risk with it. We don't know. There are a lot of unknowns. It's probably fine. It probably doesn't cause cancer. There's a bad history of vaccines in the past, but I think everyone should get it. If you're over 40, probability of getting severely hurt from COVID is, 8% of people have been exposed to COVID. So you have an 8% chance, let's call it, of getting COVID. And then of that, you have a 1% chance of dying, depending what risk group you're in. Did they shut me off, did they? I guess I got shut off. Someone turned off my YouTube. I was talking that whole time and now reconnected. I can see your comments now. Whoa. Can you guys see me? Someone comment if you guys can see me right now. I guess they don't like you talking about that. Let's talk about some of the stuff that they want me to talk about. Yeah. Didn't align with the mainstream. I don't know. I think everyone should get their vaccine, to be honest, if they want to get it. That should be their choice. 90% of Canadians probably will end up getting it, if not more. In the beginning, we said that was enough. That was more than the initial hurdle rate. So I don't know. I feel like at this point, when will it ever be enough, right? Booster shots for life? I don't know. I do not know. I broke the matrix, it looks like. And Jessica seems to have things to say. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, Jessica, there's science on both sides. And people say trust the science. There's science on both sides. There are doctors and scientists on both sides. Everyone just wants to get through this and be healthy. And people I've talked to who have recovered from it, nothing I'm recommending is going to make you worse off. Vitamin C, melatonin to go to sleep and because rest, cures you from pretty much any ailment. Sleep is the number one thing you can do to better your health. There's nothing better. After sleep comes good nutrition, low stress, et cetera, and so forth, right? But yeah, I mean, everyone should get it. There's no reason why anyone over 40 should be rejecting it unless they have a severe medical allergy or a good reason why they shouldn't get it. Yeah. But yeah, I think that even as a vaccinated individual, even as someone who supports all of that, I don't support taking away people's rights and freedoms just because they're making a medical choice for themselves. We don't know the specific circumstances, and blankets never work well. Blanketly taking away or even implementing a social credit system where you can track people and what they do and how they do it is a terrible infrastructure and a terrible precedent to set. Even if I agree that as an unvaccinated person you should have less rights or not less rights, but less interaction and ability to spread it. I think it'd be a better investment to put in rapid testing, and everyone could test, and if you come up good, then you can continue to spread around. People will build immunity to this. We will move on. It's not like this is going to end the human race. For people under 25, it has a 99.999% survival rate. It is comparative to a cold. If you're under 25, the death rate is very, very low. Influenza kills millions every year, or it did before we stopped tracking it when COVID came along, but millions of people. Like, you would have had several people every single day dying from it, right? I don't know. I mean, I've talked to nurses in the ICUs here in Ontario and in Calgary and a few other places, and I hear mixed stories. Some ICUs are not loaded at all. Some are. Some of the procedures now require a lot more staffing to get the same amount of work done, for sure. I mean, anyway, I don't want to comment on it. I'm not an expert on it. I've talked to experts on both sides, and there's some great arguments for vaccinating. I think people should vaccinate in general. I'm pro-vaccine. Get your vaccine. But if you have a good reason why you don't want to get it, that's okay too. And regardless, if you want to expose yourself to it and stay at home and stay out of the hospital system or get private health care and get natural immunity, that's your choice too. That's okay. As long as you don't spread it around, that should be a viable choice. It is actually better than getting the vaccine. It actually has a better, if you don't work and you're, say, early retired and wealthy and you could afford private health care, you should be allowed that option. I think there should be, if you're wealthy enough, you should have certain rights to do whatever you want. If you're not a burden on society in any way, you do you. But that's me. People do themselves. As long as you don't hurt other people, that's cool. So that's what I'm all about. But anyway, what do I know? Yeah, the guidelines on sex, eh? They're like, don't face the partner, both wear masks. If anyone actually followed the public health guidelines, no one is actually following that. There's gotta be 10 people in all of Canada following that. It's like, don't do oral. It's just some crazy stuff if you look at their sex guidelines. It's pretty jokes, like dental dams and they're not even addressing lesbians because how do you even have sex where you can't let your faces get near each other or your genitals in any way? It's pretty wild. Anyway, no, not Mike for PM. I have no interest in politics. I will not run for politics. Do not want to get involved in that at all. I'd rather be in the shadows, just chilling, doing my thing. I don't want to be accountable to the people. I don't want to run for the people. I'm not someone who wants the popular vote, who is interested in any of that or appeasing people. I'm the guy in the room who's the devil advocate, who people don't like. I'm the guy who's like, why this way? I get, and I'm a smart enough guy, I can look at statistically significant data set and ask, what haven't we considered here, right? That's me. I'm that guy. I'm not going to go with the majority. I'm always the guy who's looking for the dissenting opinion. And that leads me to some great epiphanies, and people like me in society, we allow for questioning and for, that healthy questioning that's necessary to come to the right conclusions sometimes. And sometimes it takes years to backpedal and find that, we were wrong. Humans are wrong all the time. We make mistakes all the time. Big Pharma is driven by profit. Human lives come second or third to profit. That's just the industry. That's just how it is. Anyway, Thank you, Jessica, for your comments. I appreciate that. You're entitled to your opinions, and yeah, I'm not by any means an expert. I've talked to some people, and that doesn't make me an expert by any means, but I'm entitled to my opinion, and I can share it. Exactly, Ramon. Exactly. It's the Mike Rosehart show. I can talk about whatever I'd like. It's my opinion. You want to come hear what I have to say? Cool. If you don't, cool. We can jump back in. You can hear what I have to say about another topic. I don't know what Kevin's saying there. It looks like there's a bunch of symbols in there, but everyone has their opinion. It's all good. I'm going to wrap this stream up because there's no more questions. So that's the end of this stream. Thank you everyone for watching. And if you're interested in any of my properties, hit me up. I will, send you a vague list of what I've got. There's a dozen properties coming up, and hopefully in the coming months I'll be able to, get this place into the home that we want it to be, and lay down roots and really enjoy life. Yeah, I'm really excited for what's to come in the next few chapters. And if I can help you along the journey and share some information that helps you guys, cool. If not, hit the down like, if you don't like it, hit the thumbs down. I don't care. Engagement's engagement. Throw me a comment either way if you're watching the replay. Just say hi. It's cool when you guys drop the comments. And as always, follow me on Instagram. I'm Mike Rosehart. My shadow ban is going away on Instagram since I stopped sharing anything that doesn't align to the mainstream narrative. So my story views are coming back up, and people are starting to be able to see my stories again. So that's cool. I'll see you on Instagram too at Mike Rosehart. That's the handle if you want to find me there. Thanks everyone. Have a good Wednesday.